So, hi everybody. This is Jen from the Wild Bill Swim and Paddle Challenge. We are getting ready for the 2023 event on August 20th. And as such, sitting on our laurels all winter is not necessarily going to get us where we want to go by the end of the summer. So we're starting our off-season training series today with Charlotte. And Charlotte is an extremely accomplished open water marathon swimmer, also in the pool competition swimmer. She's a native of New Zealand, but right now lives up in Stowe, Vermont. And she's got all kinds of things that I could list to her achievements, but I will put that on the YouTube page so you can all just read it because it's too long. But what I love is that her real passion right now is to help other swimmers increase their success in the water. And you probably can identify that passion with me because here we go, starting events for brand new open water swimmers, for accomplished 3-mile swimmers, but to be as efficient as and building foundational core strength and promoting good posture is really where Charlotte focuses on, and reducing the risk of shoulder impingement. So she has a group up in Stowe, Vermont. She runs the Swimming Hole. It's a nonprofit pool and fitness center. She also, I know that one of our swimmers this past year, Rob Green, who swam the entire mile butterfly, did some stroke work with her at the end of the summer. So I'm going to let her take this and we'll interject some questions and topics as we go. So, Charlotte.
Great. Thanks so much, Jen. And it's just such a treat to be here. And as Jen mentioned, I'm really passionate about having both our physical and mental body ready to go for our next season. And the winter is just a perfect opportunity to do that. And it's really good for our posture, our overall health, and actually our self-esteem and well-being as well. So I'm going to talk about a couple little areas, and I'm going to dive in technique-wise first, and straight biomechanics. When we're swimming through the water, whether it's in your preparation training or your event, the straighter we are and the more on top of the water, the more slippery we are, and essentially the more distance we get per stroke. And the foundation of that is having a nice, strong body line that you can hold in the water. And some really simple dryland exercises are really going to help you swim more comfortably, more powerfully, and essentially more propulsion, aka speed. So I really like to kick off with the idea that having a good physical foundation really helps you hold a great body line in the water, so that we're able to, my terminology is not be a banana, so not have that hammock shape in the water. If we develop some nice strong muscles, we can hold a line, which I call narrow as an arrow, and slip more easily through the water. And I'll kind of break out into some exercise examples once we go over the three main points. So holding that great body line is really, really important. And so that would improve your efficiency. Now, the other thing with freestyle, and Rob swims butterfly, so that's a little bit different. With the freestyle, it's a long axis stroke. And what that means is we are rotating from side to side around our long axis. And essentially, having strong trunk muscles helps you further propel through the water when we're rotating side to side when we swim. So we're really looking to get some of those big, strong trunk muscles strengthened up a lot. And the third thing, so we've got number one, efficiency, which I call performance, number two, propulsion or power, and number three, this is giving you the sell on the reasons why you should get down there and do some dryland training this winter, is prevention. And I'm talking about injury prevention, having a nice healthy shoulders and back. And with what we want to do in our dryland to reduce the risk of a swimmer's shoulder is maintain and build strength in our upper back and develop and hold really good posture. So our shoulders, it's an amazing joint. There's not a whole lot holding it in place. It's a ball and socket, and it's got a really nice little area to rotate smoothly. If our shoulders are pulling forwards, and weaken the back and tighten the front, we can get some discomfort, impingement in there. And by having good posture, strong upper back, it can help prevent that. So I really like that preventative approach. The other thing about developing nice, strong backside of the body is, we get to stand up there confident and tall, and, we're believing in ourselves and getting going. So
fill our lungs with breath.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So performance, power, and prevention. So let's talk a little bit about how we do that. I'm going to dispel a few myths. You can do a little bit. You don't have to commit to, I'm going to be doing an hour and a half dry land every other day of the week. You could absolutely do a 20-minute program, even 15 to 30-minute program, 2 days a week, and make a positive impact. So if you're being put off by feeling like you haven't got the time or commitment, it's okay to start smaller and maintain that, or progress a little bit over time. The other second one is, you can do this at home. You could navigate some exercises with the following equipment: a band or a couple of different band intensities, a mat, 1 or 2 dumbbells, some light weights. You don't need to be lifting heavy resistance. Number 3 is form. So I would much rather see you work with a lower, more manageable weight that you can control with good posture than feeling like you need to drive and strain and struggle a resistance. So short, light, simple, good form. It's an easy formula. So let's talk about some exercises in some areas. I'd like you to consider a full body workout and balancing the front and back side of your body. We can't spot train areas in the body. We're better to look at it as one unit of function. And so if I'm going to work on one side, I'm going to balance it with the other. I would suggest that you don't ignore your lower body, regardless of the fact that we are swimming. We do want to have some movement function as well. So targeting the gluteal muscles in the bottom, the front of the thigh, which is your quadriceps, and the back of the thigh, which is your hamstring. And if you have access to a fitness facility where you could use a controlled leg press or a leg extension and leg curl, that would be terrific. If you don't have that, you could either utilize a TRX, which is a band equipment, which would allow you to do a supported squat up and down, or you could simply do an air squat, where you're going from a standing position, letting your hips sink towards the back, keeping your knees behind your toes, your body position in good posture, and then rising back up. And that's functional movement that we need in everyday life. We've got to get in and out of a chair, in and out of a car. So those are important things to be able to do. Then moving on to your upper body, as I mentioned earlier, we really want to be doing a rowing motion. And I would define a rowing motion as a weighted or a band object in front and drawing it down and back. And what I'm working on doing is not pulling my shoulders up. I'm thinking about drawing down and almost imagining those shoulder blades or your scapulas sliding in together, firing the muscles up in that upper back. And so really important on those. And then the other area that we can work on certainly is also the rotator cuff muscle group itself. And Jen's going to laugh at me because I do happen to have a little band right here, so I can give you a little demonstration. So this would be your row position, a row, and then a release forwards. And you want to exhale as you pull back. And then thinking about our shoulder health, I'm taking the same band and I'm doing a little external, internal
Could you
rotation.
maybe take your background off, because
Oh,
we
yes, I
can't
can.
see the band. We can
My
only see
lovely,
what you're
I was
doing.
telling Jen that this is Lake Memphrem Magog, which is actually the view outside my front of my spot there. So let's
There we go.
how's that?
Oh, now we get to see all the medals. Woohoo.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay,
There
so
we go.
here's your row position. And this is, you could call this a low row. I'm firing the muscles in the middle of the back. I'm going to give you a little standing position here.
Yeah.
And here is my external, internal rotation. So you'll notice that I'm not yanking my arm out to the side. I'm not twisting my body. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm helping the muscle groups here keep things stable and strong in place, and also helping me facilitate my arm recovery forwards. We're going to call it a body recovery. So when I'm swimming, I'm not throwing my arms out to the side. I'm rotating my whole trunk, using my upper back muscles to ease that arm forwards into my next stroke. So a couple of simple band exercises, a band row, and external rotation would be my back exercises there. I can also put my band up a little higher and draw it down as well to give me some additional strengthening in the back. So that would be lower body and back. What I'd like to move into from there is straight into some core work. And we talked earlier about a body line. A plank is a lovely way to work on that. And there are different variations depending on your ability and entry level. You can hold a plank against a wall. You can hold a plank when you're on your knees, or you can hold a plank when you're on your toes. And ideally what we're trying to have is a nice straight line from the crown of the head through the shoulders, knees, and all the way to the ankles. And we're firing our core stabilizers. There's no movement going on. So that's quite a good one to practice, to hold our aquatic line in the water. If you have any shoulder discomfort, I'd really recommend that you start that against a wall, as
So
opposed
Charlotte, could you talk about the one against the wall? Would you
Yes.
start with your elbows on the wall, and your feet are out further? Can you?
I would start with my hands against the wall. And I would keep my hands in line with my shoulders. And on the floor, you could either go on your forearms or on your hands. It really depends on how your wrists are feeling. I'm comfortable on both. You'll probably have to check it out and see what feels best for you. But I would start wall first, would be level 1. Knees would be level 2, and toes would be level 3.
And on the wall, would you put your feet out?
I would have my feet close, and if I'm feeling some tightness down my trunk, that's great. If it's feeling too easy, I can move my feet a little bit further away over time. So a nice progressive way to do that.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
definitely.
Yeah.
And there are some other ways that you can make a plank more challenging by putting either your hands or feet on an unstable surface. And that could be a resistance ball. It could be a Bosu ball that you could add to that. But a good rule of thumb is simple and good form, and then progress on from there.
Right.
So that would be the front side of the body. Starting on the abdominals, and then we want to get into a little bit more ab work, because when I'm swimming, this area it's my big, think about the handle of a screwdriver as the thing that screws the screw into the wood of the wall. That's what's going to drive me down the pool or through the open water. So I've got a couple of different components. I've got rectus abdominis that goes right down the front, and that's a big stabilizer in my plank. I've got my obliques, internal and external, and they're responsible for any time I rotate. And with freestyle being a long axis stroke, these guys are big players in there. And then the third one, a little bit lower, is my transverse abdominis, and that goes across hip to hip, and it's the deepest of the abdominal muscles. And when I talked earlier about don't be a banana in the water, that's a really important one to fire. So we've got a couple of different options. We've got a basic abdominal curl or crunch, where I would be lying on my back, hands, exhale, and a easy curl up and a release back down. What we don't want to do is pull on the head. We want to have a space between the chin and the chest. And I say curl because I'm really just talking about coming up just a little bit. We don't have to pull ourselves all the way up into a seated position. We're really thinking about getting the lower part of the ribs moving closer to the pelvis. So that would be our abdominal, an example of an abdominal curl. An example of a oblique work would be a traditional bicycle exercise, where I was bringing an elbow towards the opposite leg. I'm actually using my obliques here. If I was lying on the ground and doing a little rotation, what you'll notice I'm doing is not pulling my head over. I'm holding good alignment with my spine. The other thing that we can do is simply take a light-weighted object and rotate it from one side of the body to the other, holding good posture. And that is going to fire those oblique muscles for me as well. And then one of my favorites is the transverse, and that would be lying on your back, having your knees up at a 90-degree angle, and then tapping a toe down on the floor. So on that, I would be lying flat on the ground, and I would have my legs up, bent at the knees in a chair position, and from there just easing down, tapping a toe, and bring it back up. And I could do one or two at a time, and the goal on that would be to keep maintaining my posture on the mat, so my back is not arching up like a banana. See, everyone's going to think, okay, the take home from this is don't swim like a banana. No bananas today. So there's lots of different variations on those exercises. Those are the most basic ones. Hitting the front side of the body, and I mentioned earlier that we do want to balance the back side. So what I would be interested in seeing someone doing would be either lying right on their tummy and lifting up one opposite hand and one opposite foot to work erectus spinae down the back side of the body and also fire the glutes. And the other option, Jen, I don't know if you've done this one, bird dog, where you're on hands and knees and you extend the opposite hand and foot.
Yeah.
That's a really good one as well. So someone could get, if you're tuning in and you're like, where do I start? Well, you could get a band and a mat, and you could do 6 to 8 exercises at home, take you 15 minutes, and 3 days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and you're going to be helping yourself hold a great aquatic line and improve your performance, your propulsion, and swim more comfortably through the water. So that's the base level of the exercise, and what I really need to slow more involved in physical health and wellness and fitness than just strength. If we don't have good flexibility and joint mobility, we can't utilize that strength in the water or on land. So I would really advocate to ask you to add in some flexibility. And my top 6 would be, the number 1 would be opening the chest up. So we talked about great posture, how we don't want to be rounded forwards, and we live in a world where we're over laptops and we're driving. So any sort of stretch that is going to help me open my chest is going to feel amazing. It's going to be great. I can take it over the top. I can center up. I take it over the other side. I can interlace my fingers and I can press them away, and I can stretch through my rear shoulder and back. So there's 4 simple stretches. if your shoulders are grouchy and don't feel good overhead, and we skip that one, you can slowly work up your range of motion over time. But opening that chest is amazing. So number one would be chest. We can go and stretch overhead. We can take it to the side. We can take it over to the other side, releasing it down. Another great one for us on the back side of the body is the triceps. Easy range here. Don't need to struggle or strain. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0, you decided you are not going to participate. 10 is everything you've got. I'm looking for a 5 or a 6. It's gentle. It's gentle, just easing those muscles out. Also the hip flexors, the hamstrings, and the hip rotators. Those are all really important ones to get. Again, you don't need to be committing an hour. If you'd want to, that would be amazing. But you could do your 15-minute strength and core. You could do 10 minutes for stretching. You got 25 minutes, let's say 30 minutes, and you're wrapped up a couple of days a week. The other reason I'm really like you to encourage to adding the flexibility is when we're talking about your performance in the water and your swim technique as a coach and an instructor, there are certain moves that some people physically can't do because they don't have the flexibility. So it's not just about having the strength to power through the water. If we're looking to extend long and stroke with our stroke in the front, and you don't have the range of motion to do that, it's going to be not impossible, but you're not going to have quite the slipperiness through the water that you could over time.
That's great. Thank you so much, Charlotte. I think I got some great things that I wrote down, and I will summarize them in a written form when I post the video. But I love the 3 Ps. Prevention was 3rd, power was 2nd, and performance was 1st. Performance, yes. Power, and prevention. Yeah, I love the 3.
30 minutes. That's it.
Exactly.
And then you just slip through the water and off you go with and I call it, Jen, doing this foundational work over the winter, it gives you deserved confidence to get out there and own the open water.
I love that. Own the open water. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because that especially for open water swimmers is what's different in the pool, because the open water, it's wild. So there's a mental curtain that you have to open to actually be really, truly comfortable there. And as I mentioned to you before, that's one of the things that I love about the Wild Bill Swim is that we have a lot of first-time open water event swimmers in a new area, not their own lake, not their own place. So that's, I think that's a really important part. And this will certainly get people more comfortable when they get out there. So if you would like to get in touch with Charlotte, I will tag her on these videos. I know that she has a great program, and we've got some testimonials already, even before I've actually personally met her.
Right.
So I'm going to turn off the recording, and then I hope you guys all enjoyed it.